So there's many liver cleanses out there, and in this video I want to clarify how to actually do it. So I've actually had liver damage to some degree, and the reason why I'm recommending to almost every single person to detox their liver is because we are all exposed to so many chemicals and toxins nowadays that our liver can simply not keep up with detoxing anymore. And obviously this creates many problems. What I explained in this video worked for me, and it also improved my health greatly. I'm pretty sure that almost everyone suffering from a health condition has a compromised liver, at least to some degree. Liver damage has a ton of indications, but in severe cases these are jaundice, which is yellowing of the eyes and later the skin. For me, this began at the outer part of the eyes. Bad vasodilation, so basically your blood is not flowing that well anymore. There's tons of indications for that. Erectile dysfunction is one way you can feel that. Edema in the lower legs, spider veins. High LDL is another indication for liver damage. Men often develop this sticking out belly, like a lot of people have nowadays, and it's also called beer belly, and the medical term for it is ascites. And that is a backup of fluid in the abdomen. That is why it's not really soft like actual fat, but rather really tight and hard. And you know what? So just that you have this picture, it's this guy that has a sticking out belly, but everything else is skinny. It also leads to estrogen dominance in men and women, and that leads to more weight gain, especially in the area of the hips and breast, and men often developing to gynecomastia, and in women increasing the risk for breast cancer. One thing to notice, if you're skinny, then you're not protected from liver damage, and it also doesn't mean that you don't have liver damage. I'm the best example for this, and I think skinny people are actually more susceptible to developing liver damage, for one thing I'm gonna cover soon, and also for just this general belief that skinny means healthy, which is absolutely not true. And these skinny people usually eat all of that junk food and all of that bad stuff and developing liver damage. There's all sorts of issues that can come with liver damage as well, like loss of sex drive, chronic constipation or diarrhea, also insomnia. Almost any disease or problem is somehow connected to liver and gut health. So basically you could list anything here. The liver is an organ that can actually fully regenerate. Depending on the severity of the damage, there is a point of no return. Basically, you can imagine your liver as your battery. The worse your liver health is, the worse your overall health is. Of course, every single organ is important, and there's not like one organ that is most important, but I personally think keeping the liver healthy means keeping all of the other organs healthy. So why do I think that? The first thing that you have to understand is that the liver absorbs and stores toxins, whether it be the pesticides from foods, plastics, heavy metals such as arsenic, or even stuff like fluoride and chlorine. It also absorbs fat-soluble minerals and vitamins like vitamin A and D and stores them. And your fat storages actually do the same thing. So that is one of the reasons why someone with a low body fat percentage like me can develop liver damage really fast, because my liver has to deal 100% with all of the toxins and minerals I'm getting, whereas someone with more body fat stores some of the toxins in that fat, the nutrients. That is why losing weight can actually be dangerous, because once you are burning these fat cells again, these toxins become reabsorbed by your liver, or not if your liver is already full and compromised. Then these toxins end up in your bloodstream, going to the other organs. Really bad. Depending on your genetics, you might actually accumulate more fat because your body is trying to take stress off your liver by putting these toxins into fat cells. So basically, your liver absorbs these toxins to protect all of the other organs and thus the whole body, because the other organs are usually a lot smaller and a lot more susceptible to these toxic compounds. So if all of these toxins that you have in your body right now would be going to your reproductive organ, you would 100% be infertile. So basically, the liver just acts like a superhero. It always goes in between and says like, well, I take the toxins. I can take them. And now many people believe that the liver is a filter and will just take care of it. And that is absolutely not the case. Just think about how many more toxins we are exposed to nowadays compared to just a few hundred years ago. We are also seeing such a rise in diabetes, obesity, and other diseases that are closely related to liver health, because a compromised liver also leads to oxidative stress and inflammation, precursors of almost any disease. So back to the liver detox. The primary way for the liver to detox is the release of bile. The liver produces bile, which it then sends to the gallbladder, where the bile is being stored and released. Bile is needed to break down fats and absorb fat-soluble vitamins and minerals. What the liver will do is this. It binds certain toxins to that bile and on other compounds it wants to get rid of, and sends it through the intestines, so that in the best case scenario, these toxins get out of the body through the bowel movements. Bile is a green fluid that is mostly composed of water, so around 97 to 98%. There's also some bile salts, bilirubin, and fats in there. Basically, what we want to do is this. We want to consume foods that can absorb this bile and carry it through the intestines out of the body. But before we can do that, we first of all need to stimulate bile release. Since bile is needed to digest fats, it will only be released if you have fat in your meal. But that doesn't have to be a lot. A tablespoon of butter is enough for some to release. Now, to detox the liver, you of course also need to remove all of the things that give you toxins. It doesn't make sense to detox the liver while taking up toxins again. So you want to avoid antibiotics, medications, drugs, foods high in omega-6, so avoid seed or vegetable oils. Restaurant food should be avoided, high fructose corn syrup, and also just in general, be mindful of your fruit and honey intake, since they are high in fructose, which stresses your liver a lot, leading to overeating. And also avoid foods high in anti-nutrients, which are toxic compounds that plants produce. So how do you know that they are high in anti-nutrients? Basically, the stronger the color of the plant, the higher the anti-nutrient content. Green is very high, especially, of course, if it's a very dark green. And also something like orange should be avoided for the most part, like carrots or sweet potatoes. They're usually high in carotenoids, and yeah, they have some benefits. Now, let me just show you. They have this much benefits and this much stress. Compare that to something like meat or actual minerals. It's this much stress, but also this much benefits. And that is why you shouldn't consume something like carotenoids. They are causing so much stress for giving you like this little bit of benefit. It doesn't make any sense, especially when looking at liver health. Also limit alcohol intake. It's kind of common sense, of course, but if you're getting drunk really fast, then this could be an indication of liver damage. Furthermore, avoid tap water and replace it with glass bottled mineral water. Go for organic foods when it comes to plant foods, and go for grass-fed, grass-finished from local farms when it comes to meat or animal products. The more you do of all of these things, the better. If you have a compromised liver, do all of them and the detox that I explained now. Now, getting back to the fat. You want to keep the fat content of a meal as low as possible, because fat leads to the reabsorption of bile and therefore the toxins, whereas something like soluble fiber absorbs the bile and the toxins and carries it out of the body. Sugars such as glucose, especially in the form of starches, also have a potential to binding to certain toxins and getting it out of the body. So we need a small amount of fat to trigger bile release, but not a large amount, just a small amount so that the soluble fiber can absorb it and carry the toxins out of the body. More fat is not better. On these extreme low carbohydrate diets, there's a lot of reabsorption happening, especially because most people have stored toxins from past diets, so it's not like gonna make a difference if you are like on a high quality low carb diet. You still have all of the old toxins in your body. Adding vegetables will not fix this problem entirely, and personally I think that the fiber content of vegetables is insignificant, especially since they're high anti-nutrient content. I'm generally not against them. If you want to have them for taste, have them for taste, but really go for organic vegetables and make sure that they did not use water that had fluoride or chlorine in it. I already said soluble fiber, and there's basically two types of fiber: soluble and insoluble. Insoluble is, as the name already says, insoluble in water, and therefore it cannot absorb the bile and toxins that well, but still to a lesser extent. So it's still okay, but we want to focus on the soluble fiber, which has shown in this study to have a higher binding capacity to certain toxic metals and, most importantly, the bile itself. And the best sources of soluble fiber and or starch are oats, white beans, potatoes, pasta, and bread. Probably you've not heard of them being healthy recently, right? Barley may also be okay, or something like quinoa. Brown rice should not be consumed because brown rice is high in arsenic. I've consumed that for some time, and actually that is one of the reasons why I got liver damage, so you definitely don't want to consume that. White rice might be okay, but I think there are other better alternatives. All of the plant foods that are listed here are low in anti-nutrients compared to the more colorful alternatives like kidney beans, for example, but they should still be prepared properly to be as little inflammatory and as little stressful on your liver as possible. For that, you can watch my soaking guide where I explain how to soak your food, and that reduces the anti-nutrient content, especially in the context of beans, oats, and quinoa. And the potatoes should be peeled and cut into pieces and then boiled, of course. Otherwise, they will cause a ton of stress on your kidneys and other organs due to their high oxalate content, another anti-nutrient. To prevent toxins from being reabsorbed, you want your food to travel through the intestines as fast as possible without getting diarrhea. For that, you can watch my video on how to fix constipation. About the amount and length of liver detox, you should have a good source of starches and or fiber with every meal. If your health is really bad and your liver compromised, it can take up to like 5 to 4 years to fully heal your liver, but you will feel better with every day, or at least every week. So basically it's not a hard thing to do. Consistency is key again. But for most people it will take around like half a year up to 3 years to fully heal the liver. Again, you will feel better with every day. So this is really a long-term investment into your health, and I'm seeing improvements with my health week after week, and this is honestly such a great feeling. By the way, fasting does not detox the liver. The only thing that you're doing when you're fasting that is kind of good for your liver health is not adding more toxins, because obviously you're not eating more toxins, but your digestive system and liver go into hyperabsorption with the food that is still sitting in your stomach. And if that food was really polluted or had a lot of toxins, you're getting many toxins from that food compared to when you would eat something, because then it would be pushed out through the intestines. So this hyperabsorption is really bad, and also you're burning fat cells, and therefore there's a lot of toxins from your fat cells again going into your bloodstream, stressing your liver. Basically, fasting is not good for liver detox. So I've actually tried intermittent fasting for some months now, so 2 meals a day with a 16-hour fasting window, but I've just found out that when you're consuming carbohydrates and on this liver detox, 3 meals a day feels way better for me. and also that stimulates gut motility a lot more. So it pushes the food faster out of your intestines, basically what we want. So this liver detox is very important, but still only a part of a healthy diet. You also need all of your nutrients in the correct ratios to feel optimally healthy. This will improve secondary detox pathways of your liver, where certain toxins or toxic compounds are being turned into harmless ones with the use of certain nutrients. So I already found out about this whole thing from Frank Tufano. I'm gonna link him in the video description. And for now, stick to the foods that I told you. And for more information on actual meals that you should be eating on this diet, check out my other videos or write me an email for private health consultations. And have a great day.